And thanks for jumping on. I'm really excited to talk to you all tonight about stress. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Oh, hold on. Slideshow. All right, so can everyone see my screen? Hopefully you can all see my screen there. So welcome to Wednesday night and our Wellness Wednesday series. So we had this great idea that Wellness Wednesday was going to be a day we're going to talk about how to feel healthier, look younger, and stay pretty much in good health. As you can see, with the last couple of years, it's been quite stressful on a lot of people. Everyone's going through stress. I think it's affected everyone in one way or another. So this topic definitely resonates with everybody. So we're going to find out today how stress affects our health, but mainly the long-term impacts of stress specifically. So just quickly about me, for those that don't know me, I've been a natural health practitioner for 13 years. I'm also a beauty therapist. I'm a master NLP health coach, hypnotherapist, and my passion is in women's health, longevity, aging, and stress. And I recently just had a #1 bestseller in Amazon released about how we can reclaim our inner goddess as well and basically realign our chakras for optimal health and wellness. So just a quick stat. So did you know that stress is the cause of at least 95% of all illness and disease? And they say that the remaining 5% is actually genetic and caused by stress somewhere in the ancestry of that person. So very interesting that pretty much almost 100% then of when we get sick or when we have a chronic illness has been due to the cause of stress. Now, there's a lot of scientific evidence on stress out there. So even the Centers of Disease Control have said that 90% of all illness and disease is related to stress. Harvard University have done a study. They said too much stress for too long creates what is known as chronic stress, which has been linked to such things as heart disease, stroke, may also influence cancer, chronic respiratory disease, and illness is just the tip of the iceberg. So stress affects you emotionally as well as marring the joy you gain from life and loved ones. Yale University have said that stress seems to amplify the inflammatory disease, despite the fact that many stress hormones actually suppress the immune system. And Vanderbilt University says that the results of long-term mental stress, including anxiety and depression, can become potentially dangerous to the state of the physical body. And we've seen a lot of that with all the lockdowns around the world. It's definitely created high anxiety and depression in many people. And the Mayo Clinic, chronic stress puts your health at risk, and chronic stress can wreak havoc on your mind and your body. So you can see that obviously long-term stress is not good in any way.
Ellie, sorry, I don't know, is it me, but it seems there's lots of clicking. I don't know, is it your earphones or the wire?
No.
You just may know.
No, is that anybody else?
Oh no, is it just me? Is someone else hearing this clicking?
I'm hearing the clicking too, like someone is typing.
Yeah, it sounds like you're typing frantically. And
oh, no, not typing. Okay. Maybe if I remove the earphones, let's see if that helps. Let me see if I can remove the earphones and just speak quickly. Can you still hear the clicking now?
No.
Is that better?
It's perfect.
Okay, I'll just remove the earphones. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so basically, what is stress? So stress has been described as a total response to the environmental demands or pressures. It is a state of consistent mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or very demanding circumstances, and it is pressure or overwhelm over long periods of time. So it's basically the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response, right? And these responses are basically changes to the body on a physical, mental, and emotional level. So what causes stress? Well, we can see over the last 2 years, it's many, many reasons. So there could be reasons of financial hardship or poverty, which has been quite difficult with a lot of people losing their jobs or, you know, due to work, right? Dysfunctional marriages or relationship breakups can cause stress, family issues, unhappy work situations, major life changes, traumatic events, fear, uncertainty, and death, either taking on too much responsibility, emotional problems, taking care of family, sick or loved ones, and chronic illness or injury. So that covers up quite a long list of basically what can cause stress. So we can stay in stress for either short periods of time. So say if you maybe, you know, have had a traumatic event and then you learn to deal with that, you can come out of that stress relatively, you know, sort of depending on the time frame. Otherwise, some people can have really long-term chronic stress, and that's the stress we're trying to deal with, right? So our bodies are basically in what we call a fight or flight. So what happens is if there's an acute threat to our survival that is marked by physical changes, including nervous system, endocrine changes that prepare a human or animal to react or retreat. So our body doesn't know the difference between being chased by a tiger, a saber-toothed tiger back in the days when they were cavemen, or basically some sort of emotional threat to our wellness or something else. It's basically the same response in the body on a chemical level due to a physiological reaction. So it could be anything that is, you know, either in what we actually think or perceive, right? Or it's actually a physical threat, like being chased down by something or something that's actually threatening our livelihood. What happens is the body actually shuts down, right? And basically we are in what we call fight or flight. So the body doesn't know the difference. We just become in this stress state, and all the hormones and the stress hormones actually then kick in. So what happens when we're in that fight or flight, right? So we can have things like a dilated pupil, right? Salivation, it increases our heartbeat and our heart rate. So that's why they say long-term stress actually affects sort of like heart disease, high blood pressure, because your heart rate is continuously increased, right? It also affects your airways. It also inhibits activity of the stomach, so people can get more sort of stomach acid reflux, that sort of thing. Digestive issues can happen due to being in chronic fight or flight. It stimulates a release of glucose, so that can affect our insulin, our glucose levels, our gallbladder, and inhibits activity of intestines. So all of our digestive issues, we can go into sort of any sort of bloating, digestive pains, cramping, constipation. And it secretes specific hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine. It can relax the bladder, so people can't control their bladder, and then promotes ejaculation or vaginal contraction. So these things all happen when we're in that sort of sympathetic nervous system, as opposed to the opposite. So when our body is actually in a relaxed state and out of chronic stress, right, we have the opposite effect, right? Slower heartbeats, right? Our body's lungs are able to pump better. Our stomach activity and the acid is able to move properly. And again, you know, all the insulin and the glucose in the body is able to be better managed, as well as the stimulating of the activity in the digestive system works better. So what happens is when your body is in a fight or flight, it shuts down, because what the body is trying to do is protect all its major organs, because it doesn't need that when you're literally trying to run away from a tiger that is trying to, you know, chase you down, right? All it needs is for you to push all the blood into your arms and legs and to run as fast as you can away from the threat. But these days, a lot of people are constantly in that fight or flight. So they haven't come down out of the parasympathetic, the sympathetic nervous system, and into that rest and digest. So say back in the caveman days, once they ran away from that threat and the, you know, saber-toothed tiger wasn't no longer chasing them, their body was able to come back into that rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. But that doesn't happen. So when we're constantly in all those emotional stresses, everything that is causing, you know, what we had the list of the long-term stress, we stay in the sympathetic nervous system. So what are some of the signs and symptoms you need to be aware of if you are in that chronic stress situation, right? You can get things like aches and pains crop up. So you get really sore joints, back aches. You can get insomnia or sleeplessness. So you find it hard to fall asleep at night due to overthinking, due to stress. A change in social behavior. You feel like you don't want to go out as much. You want to sort of be more of a recluse and isolate more. You have lower energy, unfocused or cloudy thinking, change in appetite. You may start then using increased amounts of alcohol, drug use, just to combat some of the stress. Change in any emotional response, right, to others, such as anger, and emotional withdrawal or being depressed. And usually people and sort of say it's a feeling of being stuck, you know, they're not sure what to do to move forward. So what happens when we actually have that stress and have that long-term impact, right? So when we get stressed, it decreases our body's immune response. So what happens, as I said, the blood, everything in our body basically shuts down. We don't really need our functioning organs to really be working at its optimal when we're in, you know, fight or when we're in that sort of running away from the threat, right? It's basically all that blood goes into our 4 extremities so we can run as fast as we can away from the threat. So basically our immune response shuts down because we don't need any of that major organs to be working, right? So it causes your body to produce stress hormones such as increased amounts of cortisol, adrenaline, and glucagon. So they were saying that sometimes when you're in that stressed response, glucagon, which is managing sort of glucose, it's equivalent to even having like something like 50 Mars bars for the amount of sort of sugar and insulin that your body is spiking just to get your body when your body is under stress. So quite a lot. That's why there's a lot of insulin problems, metabolic syndromes as a response to chronic stress. So chronic stress definitely takes a toll on your immune system as it weakens your immune system and leads to chronic disease. So as we said, those body produces the stress hormones. In short bursts, the cortisol can actually boost your immunity. So when we actually have a small threat or we're actually needing that stress response, like say we have a fear of public speaking, we sort of need that, you know, that sort of short burst to, you know, boost our body. But over the long term, it can create inflammation. So your body gets used to having too much cortisol in the blood, too much adrenaline, too much glucagon, and that leads to increased long-term inflammation in the body. And what that does is it decreases your body's lymphocytes, which are your white blood cells. And white blood cells are actually needed to fight infection, to fight disease. And when that doesn't happen, when your body's white blood cells are decreased, you have an increased risk of viruses and disease. So we've said that high stress levels can lead to things like, you know, increased anxiety, depression, which in turn leads to the chronic inflammation due to your overworked immune system, which then in turn leads to chronic illness. So what are the common diseases caused by stress? So we see that mainly all chronic disease and illness has been caused by basically stress, but these include things like autoimmune problems, right? Cardiovascular problems and heart disease, ulcers, type 2 diabetes or metabolic disease, weight gain and obesity, cancer, mental decline, or any mood and mental disorders. So what can we do with managing our stress? Basically, there's a couple of things that are really important to help with managing of stress. We can do things like exercise. So exercise is great for stress management. It boosts all the happy hormones, endorphins, right? It can also help you lose weight as well. So we do want to aim for something like 40 to 45 minutes of exercise, you know, at least 4 to 5 times a week. Sleep as well. So if you're getting better sleep, your body is able to be in a less stressed your body is able to manage the stress better. You're able to be in that rest and digest. So most people that are stressed are not actually having a good night's sleep. They could be restless. They could be having trouble falling asleep, you know, due to overthinking. They could be waking up a lot during the night. So that can affect obviously the way your body manages stress. And then that could lead to you being tired and having to drink more coffee or having more sugar. And it becomes this sort of a vicious cycle on getting on top of your stress. Making time for leisure activities. So we're very overworked, a lot of us, you know, especially if you're running your own business, you know, maybe having a lot of family to deal with as well. So we're not taking the time to actually put ourselves first, to actually do something that is going to help with our stress by, you know, taking a walk in nature or being more sort of doing more self-care. And then learning and practicing mindfulness is really important as well. So they've said that even just taking 20 minutes to meditate has been shown to significantly reduce people's stress responses and stress hormones as well. And then again, sort of really looking after your nutrition and activation. So what can we do to basically make sure that we can manage your stress as best as we can and to build our body's immune system? And there's lots of online questionnaires. I've got a great one. So if you want to reach out to me, I can send you a great mood and stress questionnaire. You know, we go through various different points, and you can actually select between 0 and 5 where you are sort of in terms of the different signs and symptoms. And that can give you an idea of sort of where your stress levels are at. So that's really important to do with clients, or just getting to know yourself, where your stress levels are at. So I want to talk today just briefly on one product that I find amazing for stress and how we can actually help with reducing that stress. So this is called Protandim NRF2 Synergizer. And this product is amazing to improve mood and stress management. It helps to improve sleep. So we've said how important sleep is to managing stress. Helps with clarifying the mind, reducing aches and pains, which is one of the major symptoms of stress, creating healthier cells and supporting the immune health. So when our body is stressed, we've said that the immune system basically shuts down, which leads to chronic immune diseases. And this product increases glutathione in the body by up to 300%. So glutathione is our body's master antioxidant, which will help basically fight long-term chronic disease if we've got enough glutathione in the body as well. And it's the only product proven out there to scientifically proven to extend life, as done through some studies in mice. And again, so what else does Protandim do? It reduces our oxidative stress in our body due to our environment, diet, and lifestyle by 40% in just 30 days, right? Helps the body detoxify your genes, keeping the master blueprint of your cells function intact, and significantly reducing cellular stress through the NRF2 activation pathway. So for those that don't know, it's an antioxidant pathway in our body that switches on a lot of the genes and the DNA to actually help you with managing your stress response by boosting your antioxidant activity. And it produces enzymes capable of neutralizing more than 1 million free radicals. So we've got a lot of free radicals in circulation in our body due to exposure to stress, due to exposure to our environment as well. And it helps to regulate all our survival genes and to also support the body's natural ability to repair and regenerate its own cells. And so quickly, it's an amazing product with just 5 natural ingredients. So we've got turmeric. So turmeric is a Ayurvedic herb, which is used for anti-inflammation, and it is a very powerful antioxidant. We've got ashwagandha, which is very good for raising energy levels. It is also a stress adaptogen. So it's one of the best anti-stress adaptogens out there, very potent with antioxidant properties and helping to manage that stress response. As well as green tea. Green tea is a source of antioxidants, which is good for your health and also with managing weight as well. And we've got milk thistle. So milk thistle is used to support your liver function, to relieve digestive disturbances, and studies have found that basically it's really good on detoxifying the liver as well. So lots of studies on milk thistle. And bacopa. Bacopa is great herb for learning, memory, and concentration, and for brain health as well. So that is all. And basically, if there's any questions, I'd love to be able to answer any questions that you have on that.
That was amazing, Eli. I think for me, looking at stress being so detailed and outlined, I just think that, because it was interesting, Jackie Shepherd, who also has written the book, How Your Body Hijacks Your Mind, How to Overcome Emotional, Mental, and Addictive Disorders. And she basically says it all happens in the gut. Mm-hmm. And whenever I was in, like, I had a bit of a breakdown at one stage, straight away she was like, what's happening in your world? What's happening in your gut? They're labeling you something, and it's something to do that's happening in your gut. There's something extra being produced, or is there stress? Because yeah, you're not mentally unwell. There's just a huge amount of stress. And seeing that outline today, there's probably a lot of people out there that are mislabeled, and it's just trauma and stress that has happened to their body.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, it comes down. Remember, we said all chronic illness comes down from stress. So what happens with the gut is, remember, if we're in chronic stress, our digestive system, our immune system just shuts down. So 80 to 90% of our immune system is in the gut. So if we're constantly stressed, your immune cells, all the bacteria, all the viruses just resides in the gut. And so you don't have those to able to fight off disease, right? Your immune system starts shutting down due to the white blood cells, right? Trying to ward off, like, trying to do the fight or flight response, and your stress hormones mucking havoc with your digestive function. So yeah, it's hugely impacting our gut and our immunity, because everything resides in the gut pretty much.
Yeah. Somebody just asked me what was Jackie Shepherd's book. That's it, The Silent Takeover. How the body hijacks the mind, overcoming emotional, mental, and addictive disorders. It's a brilliant, brilliant book. Brilliant book. And
all right, I'm just going to check some of these questions here in the chat, just to see if I've answered anything here. If anyone else has a question while I'm going through, please unmute. And
well, not such a question, more an observation. I really loved what you said, Ellie. So I had stress for like 20 years of my early life, like chronic stress with PTSD and all of the other stuff. And although I don't have any of that anymore, when I hit menopause, oh, wow, I had it a lot worse, because I'd had that prolonged level of stress when I was younger. My body had been under all that stress. Saw couple of some Reiki people and a few other people to try and deal with it. But I did find that, the metagenics, all of the herbal things, actually were the things that addressed all that extra suffering with menopause, rather than, the traditional things. So yeah, stress, it's a really good subject to talk about. And I just loved what you said. Yeah, so I just thought I'd share, because I think if we stay, if we're not looking after ourselves and we stay for that long period of time with stress, when you get older, it is harder to cope, the body to cope as it ages. And yeah.
Just a point on menopause, usually everything gets more exacerbated during menopause, because again, your hormones are then going through major changes again. So your body is going through almost another big hormonal shift. So anything that was already there will just become more exacerbated. So yeah, that's why sometimes people might be going all right, and all of a sudden you hit sort of perimenopause, menopause, and all these things you thought you had a handle on just erupts, because there's again another shift, major shift in all the hormones. And so yeah, you normally see that it'll come again when you hit your menopause, if you haven't dealt with it just earlier on.
That's great that people like you, Ellie, you can call up and say, okay, I need some extra some extra good stuff.
Yes, exactly. What else have we got? He wondering how it interacts with other medication. Are you Maria, are you talking about the product itself? Is she on it? Sophie, did you just want to unmute Maria?
Yeah, so I'm actually on like heart medication already, like I'm on a beta blocker. So I just wonder how it interacts with anything else that you might be already on.
Is that something your doctor's prescribed for you long term?
I'd like to eventually get off it. They kind of put me on it because I suffered a lot of palpitations. So, and it is fueled by anxiety and stress. And so the beta blockers help to reduce my palpitations. So I want to get off them eventually, but I'm just wondering how that transition happens, or is it, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
so usually
stress is just too much at the moment.
Yeah, so usually with anything herbal, like our products are that's completely herbal, right? And you could take that sort of, I suggest 2 hours away from any sort of medication, pharmaceutical medication that you're on, provided you don't have any allergies or anything contraindicated to any of those ingredients. But generally, yeah, if you take it 2 hours away from any specific medication, it shouldn't interfere with anything. And then just as you're slowly getting better, you can talk to your doctor about reducing the dosages of any medication you're on, because we do want to, that's the thing with the Western medicine, they just want you on pharmaceuticals for life a lot of the time, and they're not really getting to the root cause of
Yeah.
They're basically just putting you on something just to manage your symptoms, but not getting to the root cause of managing the stress.
No, and it is stress. Like whenever I'm highly, yeah, they are off the chain at the moment, even with the beta blockers. So well, I need help. Lots of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you can take that just 2 hours away from.
Okay. Okay. And I am allergic to Nurofen. So is that something else? Like there's no end. I don't know.
No, it's not. No,
That's fine.
that should be fine. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
That's all natural. Yeah. Were there any other questions?
Nope, I think that's it. And your 30 minutes is done. So yeah, I just think that was incredible, Ellie. Thank you so much. So you're going to do another one this time next week?
Yeah, so I was going to do one on gut health. So you mentioned that today. I'm happy to do one. Again, it'll be about 30 minutes on gut health, and we're going to go into more information on the gut and the immune system, and on the topic of the gut. So the importance of gut health for our health. Yeah, for our wellness, basically. So yeah, I'm going to cover the topic of gut health. So that's really important because it's all connected to stress, as well as all the digestive function and the immune system, like I mentioned. Yeah, 70% of our immunity is in our gut, so it's very important that we're looking after that. So if anyone that's invited you here, that's not myself, please contact them about getting in touch and ordering some Britannia. But everyone should be on this amazing product to manage your stress and preventing chronic illness.
Fantastic. And please come on next week. Bring friends. We'll have the flyer done for you probably tomorrow, so that you've got quite a few days to invite people. And yeah, bring anybody that you know that might have some gut health issues, some stress issues, invite them along to come on next week.
All right, great. So be in touch. Anyone that's got questions, please reach out.
Bye. Thank you.